Welcome everyone to the SERL Hot Wheels Cup Series Season 2 Race 17 at Chatham, and this is the first time this series will turn laps on the 1.3 mile roval. And for those who don't know what a roval is basically the combination of a road course and an oval, which I'll pull up the map and I think you'll get the idea. So here it is. The right arrow basically tells you the direction we go around this racetrack. And to me, turns 1 and 2 banked at 14 degrees. Uh, this makes it the fastest part of the racetrack. And once we exit turn number 2, this is where the field can get 4 and even 5 wide if they really try to, especially on the start. But it can also be a trouble spot, especially exiting turn number 2, where it's so easy to get behind or catch a driver, and then it's so easy to hook them. But the other trouble spot, and I think this is probably the biggest trouble spot, is the S's. And what makes them a little unique and more treacherous is that just before we head into the S's, we have this super steep downhill section, and because elevation does affect the handling of the car, it's so easy to get out of shape. It's so easy to not get on the throttle and gas like you should be, etc. And like I said, because we can get 4 and 5 wide entering this section, if one driver just makes one mistake, it could lead to a massive pileup. And now I'm going to show you the starting lineup. So last week's race at Bristol, Garrett Sydnor went on to get his first career win in the Hot Wheels Cup Series race ever, and he's already won a race this week. He's already won a race this week, and he led every single lap in the Truck Series event at Atwood, but he starts 38th, and track position is so crucial at this racetrack. And starting 2 positions ahead of him is the points leader, Ariana Parks. She got the points lead 2 weeks ago after Homestead and has actually done a nice job to hold on to it so far, and she's actually extended her points lead by, I think, a few points over now the new second place man points, Nick Smith in the 38. Third place in points is Bubba Buchanan, the driver that has been the most dominant and most consistent this season, but has fallen off his game the past few weeks. Andrew Gorman, 4th in points, Carter Sinclair, 5th in points. These are the 5 drivers that are currently in the championship picture. And with Carter Sinclair starting in the 2nd position and Ariana Park starting in 36th position, this could get very interesting. We could totally have, our championship picture could be totally different after a total of 30 laps. And on the pole, we have Cameron Garlington in the number 6. This is his first career pole of the season, and this is a driver that has mainly struggled throughout the whole season. And a win or just even a solid finish could definitely maybe help that team get out of the slump that they are in. And the thing is, when we look at some of the other drivers, you have Alan Souza, O'Neill Balvin, and just a couple other drivers that also could maybe turn things around in the for the good. And now let's get these cars rolling off for the first ever time at Chatham. Some other things that we can also expect, and this is based off previous races at Chatham in the other 2 series, expect many early cautions in the first half of the race, but then from there on out, we should have some long reflag runs. And now, for the first ever time at Chatham, Cameron Garlington and Carter Sinclair lead us to the green flag. Cameron Garlington got a great start, and that might actually allow Carter Sinclair to slide to the inside, and he does so. Alan Souza is in 3rd place here, but here comes O'Neill Balvin in 35 right here. Clint Buchanan, Nick Smith getting a little close. And now, as we go through these S's, the first set of them, and now onto the second set are here. And this racetrack, I would say this racetrack is 10 turns here, and I think I just saw a puff of smoke. Yep, the caution is out, so Cameron Garlington will lead us back to the caution. Who got involved? Ooh, my goodness here, big crasher here. Eric Gomahar, Charles Bellamy in the 46, a lot of damage. Justin Talabas, Luke Walker, Jacob Reed, Dean Orden, and some others are here. Ooh, Andrew Gorman here, 4th place in points. He has some damage. Last week's winner, Garrett Sydnor, might be involved. Pierce Saviano, 13th points here. Oh, we have an air crash. Or do we have an air crash here? I think you saw the smoke. So, interesting. So, we might have had a couple of different accidents in less than 1 lap. Let's take a look and see what happened that did bring out the caution. I definitely did not lie, because look at this here. 4 wide entering these S's. And basically what happened here is that Andrew Gorman and Eldon Mills, they hooked together and then down into Charles Billing here. But this is why Eric Almenhart was so far back right here, because he actually got spun around right here. Jim Kelly also got a piece of here, but then Charles Billing here trying to get back to the air here. Slides right up into Cameron Garlington. Andrew Gorman goes right in front here of Ariana Parks. I think Ariana Parks, I think she got some damage in that crash, so our points leader gained some minor damage right here, but with the driver that got the worst of it were drivers like Charles Belding, Jacob Reed, who was basically just like ramming into the left rear quarter panel of Charles Belding. Justin Columbus also gets some pretty good damage there, but I think the only driver, if we do have DNFs, I think it will be Charles Belding. It looks like his day will definitely be over, most likely. And now let's go on board some drivers. A two-time winner this season, Austin Kennedy, if he was just a couple more feet behind all of this, he could have been swept away just like many of the drivers behind him, or all of the drivers behind him. This flyby that I'm about to show, I think, is a perfect example of what I was talking about in the previous show, about how just one slip up or just one mistake can lead to several drivers getting involved or collected. This is what happened after they took the caution coming into turn number 2. So Andrew Ray and Matt Hoskins are here. They hooked together here, and then Matt Hoskins, I think, hits the inside wall, comes back in front of Andrew Brandt here, and I don't know if he touched the outside wall or not, but the thing is that could have been actually a lot more bigger than what it ended up being. And now let's take you back to the green flag. Just before we head back to the green flag, I have to tell you that there are no DNFs, so we still have all 4 drivers still on the racetrack and on the lead lap. Andrew Gorman, Pierce Savignano, Dean Orr, and Charles Billing all decided to come down pit road. So out of these 7 drivers that got involved, they were the only ones who I guess felt like that they needed to come down pit road at all. And now we're going to take you back to the green flag here with Cameron Garlington still as our leader. Chances are, because we're going to have so many cautions in the first part of this race, if Cameron Garlington can hang on to this lead and still lead them when they come back around for the caution flag, it could really help him clinch most laps led. But anyway, as I go through the field here, so I guess so for our first caution of the day, that was a lot more calmer than what I expected it to be. But looks like once again they are starting to get side by side. These first few laps at road course are really the most crucial time to make up passes, because after that, no passes passes are just gonna be impossible. But anyway, Cameron Garlington still leads, but Carson Clare in the 9, who has been close a couple of occasions to win a race, he's now the only driver that has really been able to catch him. O'Neill, Balvin, Allen, Souza, and Nick Swift have all been falling back a little bit. But anyway, oh my goodness, here, a cloud of dust are here. What happened? I cannot tell, but obviously... Oh, here you go! Lisa Gonzalez is here, right in front of Johnny Mills, and Kendall Gardner also gets collected right back in front of traffic. Whoa, Daniel Voiles. That might bring out another caution. I think it will. Where is Kendall DeMille? Not Kendall DeMille, Kendall Maynor. Oh, there he is. So yeah, so our second caution is out. So let's take a look and see what happened to bring out first the cloud of dust, and then the Kendall Maynor and Lisa Gonzalez situation, as Cameron Garlington is still our leader. So this is what caused the cloud of smoke. So Frankie Reed running towards the tail end of the field, and we're going to place a real time. This is actually very similar to what happened to Jim Kelly in the American Ethanol Series race last night. As you can see here, Frankie Reed did a nice job right here to save the car, and I think what helped a lot was the gravel pits, which really slowed the car down. Entering turn number 6, Lisa Gonzalez trying to get by Kendall Maynor. She gets a little out of the throttle here, and then Pankey's is just right there. Here, the two of them make contact. Then Lisa Gonzalez here gets out of shape, tries to do the best she can, but she just has 2 inch speed here, and then Kendall Maynor just has nowhere to go. Now, that hit could take one or both of them out of the race, especially if the damage to the sides of their cars might have broke something. But the thing is, it's just simply a tough luck kind of deal for both drivers who could have gotten in a top 10 finish. Just before Lisa Gonzalez got hooked, she actually downshifted to second gear, and when you downshift, you do lose a little bit of speed doing that, and so maybe that's why she got hooked. And I think going on board, you will be able to hear that. We still have all 480 drivers still on the racetrack and still on the lead lap. And when I look at some of our drivers in the championship picture, I think Ariana Park, she has made up several positions, but she still has a long way to go if she's gonna have any shot of still being our points leader. And now Cameron Gallatin leads us back to the green flag. Carson Sinclair, I think he got a better restart now, and so did O'Neill Balvin, Alan Souza, so I think they learned from the mistake they made here. And now here comes Carson Sinclair to the inside of Cameron Gallatin, and the first two corners are here. You can really drop to the rock if you get knocked to the high side. And so now Carson Sinclair is going to most likely lead this next lap. O'Neill Balvin now battling Cameron Gallatin, Alan Souza in the 31. Last time we saw Alan Souza this good was at Texas, where I think he led most of the laps, but then got involved in a late race crash. And once again, we are still green, but we are still seeing a lot of side-by-side racing throughout the whole entire field for the most part. Nick Smith in the 38. This is probably one of his best opportunities to really take away that points lead, but the thing is, he cannot afford to drop positions, especially if Aria Parks gains positions. And now Carson Sinclair, he's now pulling away from O'Neill Balvin, the second place man. Torin Deere in the 44, a driver who has, in the past 2 weeks, has been getting knocked in and out of the championship picture. Like, 1 week he's in the picture, 1 week he's out of the picture. And now we have another caution. So 3 cautions before lap 10. What's it for? Ooh, who's that car? Ooh, Payne Keys are here. Payne Keys, who has already had a struggling season, looks like that will continue. It looks like Payne Keys will also be the first driver to be out of the race based on the amount of damage he has. I mean, look at that car. That is not good. So let's take a look and see what happened to Payne Keys and maybe anyone else who got involved. Once again, just outside the top 10, and just like the last crash, Payne Keys gets hooked from William Bedford, but William Bedford was also getting pushed from Johnny Mills. And then Payne Keys are here. He tries to save the car, but he's just carrying too much speed right here, trying to lock up the brakes, but it did not work at all. Slams the tire barriers, and when he hits those tire barriers, you really destroy your race car. So it looks like that he will definitely be out of the event. And for him, like I said, his struggling season continues. It's not labeled yet, but Payne Keys is out of the race, and now we have 41 cars on the racetrack and on the lead lap. And at Chatham, I think it's pretty common of where we can have several wrecks, but only have a few DNFs. And now our new leader is Carson Sinclair, who got the lead right from who took the lead away from Cameron Gallatin heading into the first 2 corners. Is O'Neill Balvin going to be able to do the same? It doesn't look like it this time, because it looks like Carson Sinclair got a better restart. Oh my goodness, here Cameron Gallatin here and Torin Deere. Whoa, that was close. That could have been really bad for both of those drivers, especially running up front in the field. Yeah, if we're gonna have a wreck that takes out like half of the field, it's gonna be in the middle of turns 1 and 2. Because the thing is, it's actually probably the tightest. It's actually, I would say that it might be, the groove might be a little more wider. Actually, in the S's right here, but the thing is, the length between the outside wall to the inside wall, it's actually thinner. And now we have another caution. Another caution is out here, so it's our 4th caution of the day. And what is it for? I cannot tell. So it looks like that maybe it was just a simple spin. Let's take a look and see what brought this caution. This could have been a really serious and bad crash, but it did not end up being. And so what happened here is that Jim Kelly, Eric Almhart gets a good run. I think almost in the exact same area as Lisa Gonzalez did when she got hooked by Payne Keys here, and then just gets sent around here. I don't think Jim Kelly is going to be happy by that move. Luke Walker also gets some damage, so did Eric Almhart. Garrett Sydnor gets a slowdown just in time. Frankie Reed scrapes Jim Kelly just a little bit. Peter Saviano, I think, makes slight contact with Jim Kelly, but other than that, a pretty simple wreck, to be honest. And now let's go on board Jim Kelly. Sometimes the scariest moment as a driver is when you get turned around and you see a whole bunch of drivers go in the opposite direction trying to avoid you, and sometimes you kind of just hold yourself together hoping that you don't get hit. And I think that's probably what Jim Kelly felt. Jim Kelly's teammate Ian Saunders had to do some bobbing and weaving. Jim Kelly, who went around, is going to be the last driver on the racetrack and on the lead lap in 41st position. And now I'm going to show you where everyone else currently is as the pace car now pulls down pit road. And we are about ready to get the green flag once again. And our leader is still Garrett Sydnor. I think it's really all about just like nailing your restarts here. Nailing your restarts, I think, is really going to be how you win or lose this race. And currently, right now, every time Garrett Sydnor gets a great restart, he's winning. Watch out, Cameron Garlington, Dale Scott. Okay, that could have gone bad. But let's just watch here around Ariana Parks, wherever she is. Yeah, here she is right here. Let's go on board her. Well, my guess, Austin Kennedy got a little out of shape. But as you can see, when you're on board Ariana Parks here, you're basically kind of in a mess of cars. And we are still green. And Garrett Sydnor is just pulling away. Ariana Parks, she gets a little sideways right there. I think you could hear the I forget the exact term right here, but basically it's when the tires are going sideways and out from under you. And in the meantime, Ariana Parks, she's basically not on the preferred lane, which is the outside lane. I mean, there are a couple of right-hand corners, but the thing is, for the most part, you're turning left. And she's just dropping positions, which is where you do not want to be at all. Here's a good battle right here between Torin Dieter and Ono Balvin for second place. The way things stand right now, Torin Dieter, he would definitely be back in this championship picture, and actually maybe pass a couple of drivers in the points like Andrew Gorman. Where is Bubba Buchanan? Bubba Buchanan is currently just outside the top 10 in 13th position the last time by. Where does he rank this time? 12th place. So Bubba Buchanan having a pretty solid day. I think the way things stand right now, right in front of him is actually Nick Smith. So I think the way things stand right now, I think it would be Nick Smith, Bubba Buchanan, and Ariana Parks. I think that would be your top 3 in points. Because I think that in order for Garrett Sydnor to take away this points lead, he would have to have Andrew Gorman, Bubba Buchanan, Ariana Parks, Nick Smith to all finish very poorly. And currently, right now, he only has like half of those 4 drivers in very poor positions. So while he would gain, it would still not be enough to take away this points lead. But currently, right now, he's just sailing away from the field. Torin Dieter now has gotten himself into second place. And now Dale Scott is now in third place. And Dale Scott, a driver who won at Seattle, but really has not had almost any luck since then. He's still outside the top 25 in points. Alan Susan in the 31, a driver who I think started, in like the 4th position. He's falling back. He's actually getting past her here to the Kentucky winner, Club Crafton. And Club Crafton, I think Club Crafton actually has shown a little more speed ever since he did win at Kentucky. And now Ono Balvin is at risk of losing in 3rd place to Dale Scott. But Garrett Sydnor, he's just sailing away. Distance between him and second place, 1.6 seconds. What is the margin this time? I'm sure it's greater. Actually, it's just a little less. But the thing is, with 9 laps to go, Garrett Sydnor is really his car is really going to have to go away, or Torin Dieter is really going to have to make some big gains if he's going to have any shot of catching Garrett Sydnor. But I guess it's possible. I just don't know, because the thing is, laps around this racetrack happen very quickly. If you look at the right, at the top right of the screen, Carson Sinclair actually scored, just ran his fastest lap of the race. What is his lap time this time? Just a little slower. And it doesn't look like that. It doesn't look like that we're gonna catch any lap traffic anytime soon. And I think it's very possible that we could just go green the rest of the way. Isaac Nichols in 13, a driver that, who at one point, I think he was the points leader at one point in the season, but that was several weeks ago, and the past several weeks have not been his way. But the thing is, he did get a good finish last week at Bristol. I think it was second place, and looks like that he's going to get a nice solid top 5 today. So he could possibly get himself into this championship hunt if he has performances like that or better. In the meantime, Carson Sinclair here, he's actually, look at that, he's losing ground to Torn Dieter. So is Torn Dieter, does he have a better car on the long runs? We'll just have to see. We saw last week, we saw last night in the American Ethanol Series race where Nick Smith was the dominant driver of the day, but the thing is, he had some kind of a tire failure, I think it was, and that caused him to give up the lead when he went down the road, finished 40th. Now, I don't think Carson Sinclair is gonna finish 40th at all. He might just, if he's gonna lose, he's gonna lose second, because the thing is, these top two have actually pulled away from third place and everyone else. So can Carson Sinclair hold on here? Because the thing is, he lost even more ground than last time. Let's go on board Torn Dieter here. Is he using a different line? I think Carson Sinclair is maybe going a little higher here, so maybe his car is a little loose. Yeah, Carson Sinclair, it does look like that. He's a little bit more swirly. Yeah, I think if you were to go on board with Carson Sinclair, you could actually maybe hear the tire sliding a little bit. But now Torn Dieter here, he's cut the gap right here. But the thing is, at this point, I mean, if he's cutting that much, I don't know if it's still enough for here. I mean, Torn Dieter, he really seems to get a good run. He really seems to get a really good run entering these like S's. But then Carson Sinclair just like thrives and nails every time we're on these like straightaways or in other words, the oval part of this racetrack. Torn Dieter, he gained a little bit, but it's still not gonna be enough with just 3 more laps to go. So let's take one last look at Ariana Parks, 28th place. Really has not gained a whole lot of positions. I think she's actually dropped a couple of positions since the restart. And it looks like that her 2 weeks of being the points leader looks like that is definitely going to come to an end. Where is Bubba Buchanan? Bubba Buchanan, 12th place. Nick Smith, 11th place. I think that Nick Smith will actually will be our points leader, and I think Carson Sinclair, who looks like that he's going to go on to win this event. It looks like that he could move into maybe 3rd or 4th in points at this rate. But we'll just have to see right here. It's racing, and anything can happen. We have seen a couple times at some other racetracks where someone running so good. It was almost as if the car broke. We'll just see, as we just have a few more laps to go. Carson Sinclair, under Carter Keselowski, which was his name last season, he won at Vermont. And while he did not dominate that race, it was still, to me, one of the most memorable victories I can remember of last season. And Carson Sinclair, one season later, he is, even though he has not won, but that might change today. He is running a million times better, and next time by, if he takes the checker flag in first place, it might solidify himself as a driver that you must watch throughout the rest of the season. And coming off of turn number 2, now we head down turns 3, turn 3, turn 4. There's turn 5, down into turn 6, turn 7, turn 8, and turn 9, and turn 10. So coming off of turn number 4, Car Sinclair sees the checker flag for the first ever time, and it comes at Chatham. First ever time this season. So it looks like that my prediction came true of where things would get really like intense and wild in the first several laps, but then things would cool down. That is exactly what we saw today. And Car Sinclair now, as he heads down the pits, here is the finishing results. So our top 10: Car Sinclair, Torrin Deere, Ono Balvin, Dale Scott, Isaac Nichols, Cameron Gallatin, Clint Buchanan, Riley Smith, Johnny Mills, Cody Hagan. That is your top 10. For some of these drivers, it uh, it is a really good finish for them, such as drivers like Cameron Gallatin, Dale Scott, Ono Balvin, even Johnny Mills, who these past several weeks has just been it's just not been good, and looks like that our points leader will be Nick Smith, but by looking at the point standings, Bubba Buchanan will move into second. Ariana Parks, she might fall back to third or fourth. It just depends on how many points Car Sinclair gets, especially with the bonus points that he gets for leading the most laps and winning. And the only driver who DNF was Payne Keys, who I said earlier, his struggling season just continues, and I think that if he comes back for season 3, he will definitely be looking to figure out what went wrong, and hopefully he can do a lot more better. And so that is Chatham. So next week, I think the Hot Wheels Cup Series heads to Charlotte Motor Speedway. I do not remember where the other two series head to. I believe that's, I believe that's I believe that's next week. So anyway, I would like to thank everyone for watching this race. Be sure to rate, comment, subscribe, and buy. Congrats to Car Sinclair on your first win of the season, but second win overall in the Hot Wheels Cup Series.